His Excellency Mr. Anurag Srivastav, High Commissioner of India, Mr. Chandan Singh Bechu, Chairperson of Open University of Mauritius, Mr. Dinesh Surup, Director General, Open University of Mauritius, Mrs. Subhashini Gopi, Registrar of the Open University of Mauritius, Mr. Ashwan Doma, Deputy Registrar of the Open University, academics, heads of institutions from the public sector, representatives from the private sector, members of the press, parents, graduating students. Thank you very much. A warm welcome. So I think, first of all, it's a great honor for me to be here, to be addressing your cohort graduating today. And I think for all of you graduating today, it's of course the culmination of lots of work. You have many people to thank. So I think first of all is your parents sitting over here, probably your friends as well who've been helping you. And then who else are we missing? ChatGPT, right? Having said that, you know what? No technology really earned your degree, right? So you're probably using all of these tools today, really to augment what you're doing. And 25 years ago, a little bit more than 25 years ago now, when I graduated from Singapore. So what I was told was, once you're now settled, right? So you have your degree, so now you're set for life. So you have a good job, and everything falls from happens from there, right? I think that's an old story, right? What I did instead was, after graduating, that's when I started to work even harder, actually. I worked even harder doing different things. So many of my peers, many of my friends, they were working based on what they were paid for, right? So if you're paid this and your job scope is this, so you do this piece of work. So I was more than happy to do more work than I was supposed to do. And whenever I was being given a new task, a new challenge, I was more than happy to embrace that. And it was all because of the eagerness to learn. And with that brought me through a career that spanned across many different industries, many different countries. So I worked in Singapore, so in Australia, in India, in China, in Europe, Sweden, US. So with more things that I was doing, there were more opportunities that were opening up. And with that, I realized that I had to reinvent myself each and every time. Obviously, so me coming back to Mauritius, this is probably the ultimate one for me. Like this, I see it as an opportunity to come back to serve and really to be able to do something that I hope I can contribute to the transformation that's going on here. So that reinvention, I realize, is really the story of Mauritius itself, right? So, you know, as a country, if we look at our economy really started off from sugar, right? Sugarcane plantations. So many of you probably have families, right? Relatives who've been part of this whole ecosystem of the sugar industry, right? Probably even through in the plantation fields. So then we reinvented ourselves. It's not as if we dropped sugar, but we said, what if we go into manufacturing? So the government pushed for this, the private sector followed, and then we did go into manufacturing. And the beautiful thing here is when we decide on such thing in Mauritius is we really strive for excellence. So at one point in time, if I'm not wrong, that was back in 1988, right? So Mauritius became the #3 exporter in the world for quality woolen knitwear, right? So whenever we tried to do something, we did it very well. So then we moved on to tourism. Now, we didn't just want mass tourism, but we wanted quality tourism. And then we went on to finance. We reinvented ourselves. So then there was a whole slew of people who were graduating with accounting backgrounds. So much so that for more than 20 years, when we really focused on the finance industry, we became the number one FDI source in India for indirect investment. So really we pushed for that. ICT then was the next one. And ICT said then this is where then Mauritius Telecom played a big role. So back in 2017, so in Mauritius, we were the first country in Africa to be 100% fibered. Fibered meaning like today, in each of your homes, you want to have high-speed internet. You can have that through wireless technologies, but through fibered technologies as well. And we've been in the top 10 in the world in terms of most fibered countries ever since. So we've always had to reinvent ourselves. And the next reinvention, I think, is happening right now before our own eyes. And you can imagine what's the next reinvention. Maybe because we talk about it too much, I hope we're not becoming blasé to it. Because the next reinvention is really around AI, artificial intelligence, right? So for those of you who are graduating, this is an amazing time actually to be part of this transformation, because you're part of these first generations of graduate. When you go out there in the workforce, many of you are already in the workforce. But when you go out there in the workforce, you know what you need to use is your intelligence, is your brain. But now when you go to the workforce, you go with other brains around you, right? With what we can term as pluggable brains. And that's what the current breed of AI is bringing. Because now, like for many of you who've been doing your MBA, you know how hard is it to write a paper manually, by hand, crafting that. Imagine how this was being done 10 years ago, for that matter, 20 years ago. But now when we are joking about ChatGPT creating many of these pieces of work easily, so you can imagine how the world is going to be like. So we're going to be living in an age where intelligence becomes abundant. So you are part of this. So in the past, like what we knew was what differentiated ourselves in the working world, in the industry out there. But now I don't think so. Because if you don't know that much, you can lift one of these pluggable brains out there. What do I mean by pluggable brains? ChatGPT is a pluggable brain. Many of you are using other things, Grok, or using Gemini, or whatever else. At Mauritius Telecom, we ourselves, we're building such technologies. So we're calling that Mighty GPT. So there's more to come around that. So this is the world that you're going to be working with. So you will be able to, number one, right from day one itself in your job, you'll be as competent as somebody with 5 years of experience. You know, this whole role of being a junior and all that, it's a question mark now in the industry. But right from day one, already you'd be able to be super capable by leveraging, by embracing many of these tools. And which is why I say you're one of the first generations going on through this transformational shift that we're now seeing. And this will happen, this is happening across all industries. Many of you are graduating from HR. It's like, what has AI got to do with HR? AI is transforming HR big time, right? Many of the mundane work in HR will now be done through AI. So when intelligence becomes scarce, or becomes abundant, what's important now is your judgment. What's important now is being able to take accountability. What's important now is being able to work with integrity. So all of these are the human values, the good old boring values that we've been having, but we've not really been cherishing. But that's what's going to be scarce now. Because intelligence, everybody will be intelligent. But working with strong commitment, with discipline, this is what will differentiate yourself. So that's what's going to be scarce. So as we embark as a country, because this is our next créneau that we're going to be going on, because we do want to be a global, a significant player on this whole transformation that is happening. So that's my invitation to you all. So be the light out there to pave the way in terms of how we should be reinventing ourselves. So just like how I graduated, when I graduated, it was not necessarily you have a degree, then you're settled for life. But what happened was it was the beginning of setting into motion. So I wish you all a wonderful journey ahead, and may you set in motion in that journey ahead. Thank you very much.